Hi, I'm Ellen Atkinson, and this is EDL 853, the case study when a student's rights are wronged. Okay, this is the report summary. Miguel Hernandez, former football star of Nottingham High School, is returning to school in a wheelchair with a medical release from his doctor. His parents don't think he needs any other accommodations. The first day back, Ms. Guzman, the counselor, tells him his biology class is not accessible by wheelchair and changes his class to another science class, one that meets the high school graduation requirement, but not necessarily satisfying a college requirement. On the second day, his mother makes an appointment to speak to me, the principal, asking why Miguel is being denied access to his biology class and why his parents had not been informed of the change. She demands that he be allowed into the biology class because it is a required course for the university he plans to attend, unlike the one he's been reassigned to. Mr. Hernandez appears at the end of the meeting with a lawyer who refers to Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 that Miguel deserves access to the biology class and anything else necessary to ensure his rights are protected. Okay, the legal and ethical issues. Miguel's educational and personal needs have not been considered, and his parents have not been consulted when his counselor substituted his biology class with another. Section 504 of the 1973 Rehabilitation Act, ADA, and FAPE prohibit discrimination on the basis of disability in programs and activities in public schools receiving public funding. Miguel is experiencing discrimination because he is not being allowed into the biology class. That's an inequality. And his parents were not consulted with a change of his science class, which is a violation of IDEA, another inequality. Miguel doesn't have an IEP, so the second issue is not a legal problem, but it is an ethical issue. Ms. Guzman should have alerted both the principal and the parents when she realized Miguel couldn't access the biology classroom instead of changing his class. As principal, I should have checked with Ms. Guzman as the situation developed to make sure his 504 was in place and all his classes were wheelchair accessible. This is the Section 2 synthesis sentence. Miguel Hernandez's rights as a student are being violated because Nottingham High School is not providing him the wheelchair accessibility he needs to participate in the general education curriculum under legal requirements in FAPE and Section 504. Okay, here's the case synthesis. Ms. Guzman changed Miguel's biology class lacking wheelchair accessibility for another science class that does at the last minute without telling anybody instead of accommodating his disability. I did not remind Ms. Guzman as the situation was developing to make sure Miguel has a 504 in place and his classes were wheelchair accessible. Miguel's parents are upset because they don't approve of the change, were not informed, and are standing up for their son's rights by hiring a lawyer, Howard Carey, to make sure he takes the class. The unknown parts of this. What are the biology teacher suggestions? Do other students lack access? Does Miguel have a 504 in place? And what was Ms. Guzman thinking? Okay, the place. Known, 1/4 of the high school is not wheelchair accessible, including the biology classroom. Unknown is that are there open classrooms with wheelchair accessibility? Can the biology teacher swap with another teacher? How much will it cost to make the biology classroom accessible? And what funding is available? The program synthesis. Known issues are that Miguel and his parents are insisting that he be allowed to take biology, a required class for the university he plans to attend. The unknown quantities are that since Miguel is a sophomore, can he take biology another year once the school has been made the classroom accessible? And are there other classes Miguel wants to take that lack wheelchair accessibility? Now I'm going to review and prioritize the information. The principal must handle the situation immediately to reduce damage to multiple stakeholders. Miguel's rights and wishes are not being considered, and his parents are adamant about supporting their son legally. My reputation as principal and the goodwill of the community is at stake. I need to investigate the issue by listening to and consulting with the family and their lawyer immediately, then Ms. Guzman, the biology teachers, the school's attorney, and Dr. Harvey, the superintendent. Then I will make a decision. The high school and community is being damaged because the rights of one are the rights of all, and Miguel is beloved in the community. If the situation is not handled properly, community support may wane. Ms. Guzman's and my reputation are being damaged. Dr. Harvey needs to be informed immediately so he can provide support and advice. I need to find out if a change in classroom is possible. I need to find out if Miguel could start taking biology online until a better solution becomes possible. Could he take it at another high school or at the nearest community college? Since he's a sophomore, could he take it later while the school makes a classroom wheelchair accessible? Here, this section is to identify options and possible consequences. The first option is to support Ms. Guzman's decisions which could lead to successful lawsuits since Miguel's rights have been discriminated against according to IDEA and FAPE rules. The second option is to make it possible for Miguel to take biology. He could take it online, but biology has a lab component and he will miss student interactions. Can the room be changed? This is the most likely solution, but 2 teachers will be impacted. Can he take it at another high school with an accessible classroom or at the nearest community college? Transportation might be a resolvable issue. Can he take the class later and give the school time to make that classroom wheelchair accessible? Okay, here's the option evaluation. Simply supporting Ms. Guzman's decision to change Miguel's classes without notifying his parents would be supportive of her, but is likely to lead to successful lawsuits since Miguel's rights have been discriminated against according to IDEA and FAPE rules. My job is to make sure discrimination does not occur in my building, so this is not a choice I will make. Can the classroom be changed to an accessible location? This would be the simplest solution, but 2 teachers at least would be impacted. I would need to consult with Ms. Guzman and the 2 teachers. Miguel could take the biology online or as an independent study. He would get the credit for the class but lose the time interacting with other students and lab components. Could the biology teacher or a homeschool teacher work with him on the lab components? Can he take it at another high school with an accessible classroom or at the nearest community college? Transportation might be a resolvable issue. The classroom can be made accessible to Miguel to use in a later year. How much money will that cost? Would that decision work for his schedule? So I should consult with Ms. Guzman. So the decision, after consulting with Dr. Harvey and the school lawyer, the parents and their lawyer, Ms. Guzman and the 2 teachers that will be impacted, I decide to swap classrooms so that the biology classroom will be wheelchair accessible immediately and Miguel's needs will be accommodated. And how to implement the decision. I will put the plan of action into effect with the student's best interest in mind. I pay close attention to the response of Miguel and his family, their lawyer, and the staff in the community to the decision to swap classes. I'm going to make sure that teachers and Ms. Guzman feel supported in their extra work at this time, and I would make sure Miguel feels comfortable in the new classroom. Plan B would be for Miguel to take the course online with lab supports from the biology or homeschool teacher, and I would work with Dr. Harvey to make the remaining 1/4 of the building wheelchair accessible. That wraps up this case study. Thanks so much for your time and attention.